It's time now for our World Cup debrief with Emily Boyle, and we have plenty of action to go through today. Emily, 6 games to debrief and 6 more coming up.
Yeah, a huge amount of football, and with us, of course, to go through all of the details is Ruben Slagter. But before I come to you, Ruben, let's start going through some of those results from last night, starting with Group D. It was the first upset of the tournament for Team USA. The hosts were level with Turkey for almost the entire game, but a late goal by Kaan Ayhan gave Turkey their first and only win of the tournament. Elsewhere in the group, Paraguay, Australia stayed goalless, meaning that the US takes first place, followed by Australia in second. Paraguay, though, will probably make it through as one of the best third place teams. Now, I guess the question is to you, Ruben. We were not quite expecting the USA to look quite so dominant in the first 2 games of their group. Their first loss yesterday, but what do you make of their performance? How far could this team go?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of question marks, but the problem is that, how much have they been tested so far? Turkey, you should be saying also that it was more expected as be the strongest team in this group. They really disappointed and wanted to prove something, whereas for the US, the only goal was not to get injuries because they were already first in the group. So it's difficult to say how strong they really are. They will now play against Bosnia-Herzegovina and then probably against the winner of the group of Belgium, which could be Egypt. Again, not very serious test. The only thing what we can say about the US, especially looking at the first 2 games that were the decisive ones against Paraguay and Australia, is that there is a lot of energy in it. It seems to work. So they have, if you also look at the path, they have a golden opportunity to go all to the quarters.
Fingers crossed for you, Will.
Yeah, we'll see how that turns out. But in Group E, we did see a remarkable result. Ecuador achieving quite the feat by beating Germany 2-1.
Yes, quite a few people were shocked by that result last night. Germany just seemed a little bit too flaky last night, and Ecuador, of course, on top form. So I guess the big question is, how did Ecuador pull that off, and what happened to Germany there?
Well, it's a bit the same situation that Germany had nothing to prove because they already won the group. But Ecuador, for many of us, and I remember we were sitting here a few weeks ago doing the pre-show and saying that Ecuador could be one of the dark horses in this tournament. They were disappointing so far. The 1-0 loss against Ivory Coast in the last minute was a bit unlucky. But not winning against Curaçao, even though 26 shots, etc., etc. But you should win those games. But now yesterday, when the pressure was highest, they stood up in a fantastic atmosphere, I have to say. I was so happy to finally have a proper football atmosphere in the stadium. No influencers, just only Ecuadorian people behind the team. And Germany, I think that Germany, I'm a bit afraid that this is what it is for Germany, that it's a team where there is quality, but not enough, and it's lacking personalities.
Yeah, they were lacking as well on a few technical aspects of the game. That result means that Ecuador will therefore probably qualify as one of the best third-place teams. And despite the loss, Germany finished on top of their group. Elsewhere, World Cup first-timers Curaçao lost 2-0 against the Elephants. Unfortunately, that means it's the end of the Blue Wave Curaçao and their dreams at this World Cup. They were ended by the man of the evening, Nicolas Pepe, who signed off the 2 goals of the night. The Ivory Coast, therefore, is through to the knockouts for the first time in its history. Here's what the Elephants head coach Emma Seyfai had to say after that historic achievement.
Very happy with the result because it qualifies us, even if everything wasn't perfect. We won 2-0 without conceding any goals. It's also good for morale and for confidence for the rest of the competition. The group needs to make the most of this victory and from this qualification to recover. We know that we recover more easily after a victory. And on top of having the victory, we have qualification, so we're really proud and happy.
Well, that's it for Group E. Tell us more about Group F.
Well, in Group F, all eyes were on the battle for the second spot in that group between Japan and Sweden. That game finished in a draw, whilst the Netherlands cemented their lead at the top of the group with a convincing 3-1 win over Tunisia thanks to an early own goal, as well as further goals by Brian Brobby and Van Hecker. The Eagles of Carthage will unfortunately be flying home, having lost every single one of their games at this World Cup. Well, I guess, Ruben, you're a Netherlands supporter. We can come to you for expert advice on this team. They're finishing top of Group F, and one German mathematician predicted they would win the whole thing. Do you believe that prediction? What are your thoughts on them?
Well, I don't believe the prediction, but what I have to say is that the Dutch are playing better than expected. I think that at least Koeman understood now to play with a proper 9 with Brian Bobby. That works very well. Against Tunisia, it was not a proper test, but as you say, after 7 minutes, the game was over. You can see that there's a lot of issues with Tunisia, a new coach. The team is just not working. But yeah, I think that go all the way will be very difficult, especially as now there's already a big match coming up against Morocco, of course. And for me, that's a pure 50-50 game.
Yeah, interesting fixture for the next round.
Also, that German mathematician, he predicted like the last 3 World Cup winners, hasn't he?
He's got quite a good track record, so who knows? Maybe
Ruben, we're going to be holding you to the...
I've heard it now very often, but I've seen too many Dutch disasters in the past to trust a mathematician on it.
Well, these results mean that we know some of the first knockout games.
Yes, the round of 32 is getting ready shortly. Bafana will be playing their first ever World Cup knockout game against hosts Canada in Los Angeles on the 28th of June. Then Brazil are up against Japan, another huge game in Houston the next day. Netherlands versus Morocco, as you just mentioned, kicks off in Mexico on the 30th. Interestingly, they last played each other in the 1994 World Cup in the States, and the Netherlands won that game 2-1, so we'll have to wait and see for that one. Team USA will line up against Bosnia-Herzegovina in California on July 2nd, and of course there are plenty of games yet to be set, but we'll be keeping you up to date on the latest developments there.
Yeah, and in the meantime, though, we have one big game that awaits us this evening.
Yes, it's kind of been billed as the big final of Group I, or the battle for the top spot, at least, as France is getting ready for a big game tonight against Norway. France 24's own Selina Sykes is in the middle of all the action in Boston. Take a listen.
Final preparations are underway for the French team ahead of that blockbuster last group stage game against Norway. In terms of team news, William Saliba is training separately from the group. He's dealing with that ongoing twinge in his back, but the assistant manager, Guy Stéphane, said that doesn't mean that he won't be available to play on Friday. Obviously, preparations this week have been going on under very particular circumstances, as Didier Deschamps, the manager, has travelled back to France in order to attend the funeral of his mother, which means that Guy Stéphane, the assistant coach, has taken over the reins. He'll be replacing Deschamps in the dugout on Friday. The pair know each other very well. They spent the past 14 years working together, managing the French side. They also worked together at Marseille. Guy Stéphane has said that he's been in contact regularly with Deschamps this week, and that the goal is very clear. Les Bleus have already qualified for the knockouts, but they want to finish top of Group I in order to have a more favourable knockout fixture, and also, more importantly, to remain here on the East Coast and avoid longer journey times.
First, I feel like I don't belong here in front of you.
Il se trouve qu'on est dans une situation cruelle.
We happen to be in a cruel situation for Didier and his family. So we have to secure the win. We have to secure the third match. And it's an important match. Not decisive, but important because it could lead to a lot of points behind it.
Ça peut découler beaucoup de points derrière.
So after that training session, we followed Les Bleus here back to central Boston, outside their hotel, the Four Seasons, that you can make out behind me. They've privatised it for their stay here in the US, and they're obviously hoping to stay right until the very end for that final on the 19th of July. In the meantime, football fans are getting very excited over the prospect of seeing the two best strikers of their generation go head-to-head. That's, of course, Erling Haaland and Kylian Mbappe. Both are currently on 4 goals each as they look to catch up with Lionel Messi in that hotly contested race for the Golden Boot.
Well, of course, both teams already sure to be qualified, but they've both got their eye on this top spot, Ruben, as we heard Selina mention, mainly because of travel, but also because of their opponents. Do you think that that will play into this? We also saw Haaland saying that he didn't mind if they lost against France. How do you see this game playing out?
It's more a mental game, I think. What I think, and I think that's genuine from Erling Haaland, is that he thinks that France will win the World Cup. And I think a lot of people think that. But it's super important for Norway and France to win this game, because if you win the game, the path afterwards will be a lot easier, in my opinion. You will get a third team, probably Sweden, if I'm not mistaken. If you win it. If you lose, you have to play against the Ivory Coast. France lost a friendly. I know it's a friendly game, but I think that the Ivory Coast for France is not the ideal opponent, for example. And then afterwards, if you pass the Ivory Coast, there's Brazil waiting for you. Whereas if you go on the other path, it will be a third team and then probably Germany. For me, it's way easier for them. And especially for the French team, those are way better opponents. So yeah, that will be super important.
We've also got Norway has a super strong offense. Like we have to mention in the UEFA qualifiers, they scored 37 goals from 8 games. They've got Erling Haaland, of course, right at the top there. Do you think this is going to be a battle of the offenses, or will there be other dynamics going on?
I think that the defense will decide the game. So it's way more important. I think that the French defenders are better than the Norwegian ones. I think that the attack between the two teams, even though the French attack is probably the strongest in the whole tournament, Norway is not so far behind. They have so much quality, and Erling Haaland can always score from whatever situation. But it's the defense of Norway that was worrying me, at least in the first 2 games. Iraq could have scored 3 goals easily. And also Senegal, they were very close to make it 3-3 at the end of the game. So I think that it's there where it will be decided. I still think that France is the favorite because they're a more complete team than Norway. But let's just hope for a fantastic football game.
Do you see any vulnerabilities within the French squad?
Yeah, they are. I think that Norway has seen it as well. The issue for France is, of course, their fullback. So if you look at Theo Hernandez and Jules Koundé, defensively they are not the strongest. So if they can manage to exploit it over there, but the issue is you have to come there before exploiting it. But yeah, France is not unbeatable. Also, Mike Maignan so far has not been flawless. I think the Mike Maignan of 2-3 years ago was stronger. But okay, as I say again, you have to get there. And in general, France is already having so much firepower up front, so they can just control it over there.
And do you think the absence of Didier Deschamps will have a role to play in this mental game that you were mentioning?
No, Guy Stéphane said it as well. I mean, he is very modest, but he is there for 14 years. He's there all the time. I was at the time when Didier Deschamps came in. I was working at the Stade de France, and he is there always with Deschamps together. So it's a team effort. I would even say that the French team will really want to make their coach proud. So I wouldn't say that it's a disadvantage. No.
And then there are plenty more matches to come, Emily.
Yeah, 6 more matches to come. Of course, 3 more groups will have their last group stage games. That's groups I, H and G. So as we mentioned, France and Norway kicks off at 9 p.m. Paris time. Senegal, Iraq kicks off at the same time. Meanwhile, Senegal looking to win with a big goal difference to keep their slim knockout hopes alive. At 2 a.m. Group H will take centre stage with Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay will take on Spain at the same time. And finally, at 5 a.m, New Zealand face the Red Devils, Belgium, in Vancouver. Egypt will battle it out with Iran during the so-called Pride match. I guess last question to you, Ruben. Are there any games in that selection that you're looking forward to in particular?
Well, almost all of them. I have to say I'm really much looking forward to Cape Verde against Saudi Arabia because it's a huge chance for both of the teams. I'm also looking forward to Senegal because they have to score at least 3 goals to go through. Mm-hmm. All the results yesterday didn't go their way, so they are under huge pressure to perform. And also the group of Belgium. I mean, Belgium 2 draws so far. They have to win against New Zealand. So honestly, in every game there's quite a lot at stake.
It would be quite impressive if Belgium didn't make it through to the next round.
Yeah, I mean, 4 years ago they also did it, but then it was in a group with Croatia and with Morocco, and we were like, okay, well, can happen. But if it and with the US, but now if they will be eliminated with Iran, New Zealand, and Egypt, yeah, it will be a big disaster for Belgium. That's for sure.
Well, that's all to play for this evening. But before we leave, a thought for journalist Christophe Glaise, who remains detained in Algeria. He was given a 7-year sentence for what was said to be glorifying terrorism. His lawyers are hoping that a presidential pardon may happen. He was working on a report on the country's most decorated football club, Jeunesse Sportive de Kabylie, when he was arrested over 2 years ago.
Emily, Ruben, thank you so much. We'll have more World Cup debrief, I'm guessing, tomorrow, checking on some of those results and some of the predictions as well. Time now for a quick break. Please stay tuned to France 24.